Welcome to the Climber Dad channel. I'm talking about inspiration, education, and creation specifically for things in the climbing world. I am a climbing gym owner. I'm also a dad, which is the best title ever, is being a dad. I love it. And I've created this YouTube channel to hopefully give back in education. Now, I want to be clear though, the education that I'm giving, I'm not a certified anything. I'm just a guy that's been there and done some things, and I'm trying to share my personal experience from that. So take it for what it is. I have a bunch of questions that have been given to me, and I've printed them out here. If your question has not been answered here in this video, go ahead and comment down below. I'd like to see those. Hopefully in the future, I'll be able to do another question answer video. So let's get started. Andy Bell asked, could you give me advice on wall angle? Wall angle is really determined by the space that you're in and who you're designing it for. If it's for kids, I would try to stay away from the steeper angles like 45, although when you get more into a roof, let's say beyond 60 to 90, it becomes a different style of climbing. And you get some big juggy holds. It feels like monkey bars, and kids have fun with that as well. So that does play into the wall angle. I will say this though, if it's a home gym, don't go anything less than 10 degrees. Meaning if it is dead vertical, you're just gonna be bored with it. Even kids are gonna be bored with it really fast if it's dead vertical. Try to keep with 10 degrees or beyond, and I try not to push past 50 degrees because it changes the climbing dynamic to more like playing on a jungle gym at that point. Okay, Juan Florencio. I'm gonna butcher names. I'm sorry, guys. Apologize. Juan asked, hi, what type of foam did you use? This is for my last hold shaping video. I used to shape holds back in the late 90s, early 2000s, and I still do it today as a hobby. On a recommendation from Louis Anderson, a foam called Sahara Foam 2, made by Oasis. If it looks crazy sharp, it's gonna be crazy sharp. Don't even buy it. Find the stuff that looks more like a rock. Also try to stay away from what's called wet floral foam, because that stuff is so crazy soft that it's going to be really hard for you to get a fine detailed model that you'll be proud of paying $20 or $30 in silicone mold making material to pour that mold. So dry floral foam, about a 2-pound density. Okay, next question comes from my framing vlog 3. Bolino Voador. I don't know how to say it, sorry. Okay, you mentioned a climbing gym in the Netherlands that's using CNC cut pieces of plywood for the framing. And you asked, is this safe? I don't know. There's a lot that goes into the design of a climbing wall. This would be a really good question to ask the structural engineer that designed that wall, or the person that designed that wall. I can say this though, plywood, especially the right type of plywood, can be extremely strong. Look at lamb beams. Lamb beams are basically plywood, and they're crazy, crazy strong. So using CNC cut plywood in the right way could be very, very strong. Volumes are usually made with just that. Plywood, cut at an angle, glues and screws. Rockworks also uses what they call strong backs in their climbing walls, the flat climbing walls, where they connect those angles together with strong backs. It's basically just strips of plywood that's glued and screwed together to hold that there. Now, their main structure is a steel superstructure that sits behind that and gives the strength that's needed in that structure. So it just kind of holds it together, and then they get their strength from the steel structure. I hope that answers your question about using CNC plywood for the frame. It's something that I've thought about too, but cost effective, it's just not there for me. Okay, next question. Domenico Johnson, my framing vlog number 3 video, said, it looks like you're using 2x8 lumber when you're cutting that angle. Did you say 10? Very keen eye, my friend. That is 2x8 lumber that I'm using, showing you how to cut the angle using a speed square. If you want to see that video, I'll link it down in the description below. And this is 2x8. I generally use 2x10, especially if I'm running a long span, and I've recommended 2x10s in other videos, but it really depends on where you're using it and how you're using it. So the rope wall, which is behind me right here, is the main section of that frame is 2x10s, but then there's also a section where my overhang comes out. I use 2x8s, and the reason why I use 2x8s is because I'm tying it back to the 2x10s, so there's never a very large span in that. And 2x8s are much more, I mean, it's giving me more strength than what I actually need, which is something that I strive for. That helps me sleep at night, knowing that it's built way over what it is called for. And then you ask, how do you feel about using 2x4s in the construction? I want to sleep at night. I don't like using 2x4s. I will use 2x4s for bracing, maybe filling in some of the gaps, but never as part of the main structure of the climbing wall. And I'm broke saying this. So if you're using 2x4s just to save money, just try to save money in other areas. Don't skimp on that. Maybe you could go like a 2x6, 2x4, 2x6. But definitely throw in more than just 2x4s in your framing. My personal opinion on this, the walls that I've built in the past using just 2x4s have been really crappy. Okay, next question. Diesel Rug from my vlog 2 video asks, what material did you use for the surface of your gym? 3/4 inch birch ply, and where did you get it from? I think I've already answered this in my vlog 3 video, but to answer it again, I use 3/4 inch birch plywood. That is like the bee's knees, okay? 3/4 inch Russian birch plywood. Don't do what I did once and get sidetracked with this import stuff from China. It is not quality. It's only as good as the glue that holds it together. The core is super important too. The core in Russian birch plywood is birch, and it's what they call veneer core. So the core is a solid piece of wood that's quality enough that you could use it for veneer. That means that it's good. There's no voids in that. And that makes for a very strong sheet of plywood. You can use, I've used CDX. I've used OSB in the past as well. There's actually a piece of OSB up here. It's not a part of the climbing surface, but it is a part of the climbing wall. I typically don't like OSB. Again, it comes back to how good the glue is that holds it together. There's some better OSB out there. If you are using OSB to save some money, then you're using the crap OSB. And even though it may say premium on the side of it, if it's cheap, it's cheap. And I would recommend against it. Even the CDX plywood, that's, you know, construction grade plywood, maybe you don't have to jump up to the veneer core plywood, but the CDX plywood is better. Even the cabinet grade plywood is better than the cheap OSB. So there's my take on that. He also asked, or Diesel Rug also asked, did you use a small business loan and business plan? Yes and yes. I got a small business loan. It was very hard to get. This, I think somebody else asked this question as well. I went through at least 10 banks or loan offices before we found somebody that was willing to take a chance on us. I also had a business plan, a very well-written 23-page business plan that has never been used after we got the loan for the business. It is just too involved, and it doesn't make sense to refer to something that's outdated at this point. There's a really good book on business called The Toilet Paper Entrepreneur. It's a great book. I'll leave a link in the description below so you can get that. It's a great listen to on Audible. I'll throw that link down in the description. Actually, I might even have a code for a free Audible with a book. That'd be sweet. Check the links. If I have that, I'll throw it in the link below. Okay. Yes, it was a difficult process. Do I rent or own the building? I would like to own the building because of all of the modifications that we're doing to the building, but I rent. It was super, super hard to find a building. We've lost 7 different buildings before we landed on this one, and we just took it. So yeah, I would love to own, but we do not. What software do you use to track gym memberships and cash flow? Those are 2 different things that we use. For our memberships and sales, our POS, point of sale, is Rock Gym Pro. Works pretty good. What we use for cash flow, even though Rockbooks Pro syncs with QuickBooks very easily, we don't use QuickBooks. We use something called the Wave app. You can go to waveapp.com. That's what we're using right now. Next person here, this is from my question answer video, or asking for some questions. Rip It Like a Dog says that he is a pastor and has a dream to open a climbing gym at his church to bring people in for free. That is fantastic and scares me to death. I hope you don't live in Clarksville, Tennessee, because I'm struggling to stay alive here. And if a free climbing gym opened up, oh my gosh, it's over. A climbing gym actually takes a ton of work. So if you want to build a climbing wall in your gym, kind of a talking piece to bring people in, to gather people together, that would be much more doable than actually building out a gym that's going to be turning over holds and routes and problems. And there's a lot of maintenance and a lot of things that go into making a gym function. So having a climbing wall at a church, I think, could be very beneficial. But keep it at that, a climbing wall at a church. Don't try to go like full service climbing gym that's, you know, open all the time. That's my 2 cents, and that's not because I'm scared of somebody coming in and doing that in my community and putting me out of business. The business is very difficult right now, and if you want to put me out of business, go ahead. I don't care. I mean, come in. This is awesome. But I'm really burnt out. Whew. Oh, let me pick up my papers. Okay. So you asked some other very specific questions here. What's the maintenance that should be considered? Route set time. Route setting, cleaning holds, managing routes, managing people, managing safety equipment. There's a lot that goes into it. What are some of the hidden costs of your construction? Time. Time is a huge hidden cost. That was a huge hidden cost for me. And I think it's a huge hidden cost for even the builders, the main builders today. They'll come out and they'll give a quote. They'll give you the best case scenario, like, oh, we can have this built in 2 months. It'll be up and running. That's the best case scenario, and remember that. I would, in the back of your mind, if a builder says we can do this in this amount of time, for your sanity, double that amount of time. Don't tell them that you're doubling that amount of time. Try to hold them to the time frame that they originally gave you, but in the back of your mind, plan for double whatever they say, because things happen. And it's not that the builders are trying to, drag their feet and prolong these things. It's just things happen and problems arise. We had a big major issue when we were building the gym. It was called air conditioning. We had to replace the air conditioning in this building on my own dime. which took away 3 months of working capital, and we're still suffering from that. We haven't quite recovered a year and a half later from that. So, do you have any input on where to begin? That's where I would begin, is just building a single wall, maybe 2 or 3 lines on it. And then if it blossoms from there, let it blossom from there. Hey, from the same video, James Taylor asks, or says, it's always been my dream to start a small climbing gym someday. What kind of gross startup costs can be expected? I'm going to narrow this down a little bit more for you because it's so different wherever you're going. Plan on about $50 a square foot of climbing wall surface and $20 a square foot for your flooring in a bouldering area. And actually that might be a little low. Maybe you want to do 25. It's been a little while since I've actually priced per square foot from a flooring manufacturer because I know that I'm going to do that myself. So even though I did just recently look at a company coming in here for the flooring that I have, I didn't look at it per square foot. I looked at it the whole project. So the whole project for me, covering this boulder that is behind me, I'll back up, show you. It's a simple boulder. Nothing too exciting other than it's amazing and has some hidden gems for kids to play. But the flooring for this was going to cost me $2,000 from a flooring company. If I do it myself, I can do it for $1,200 and some sweat equity. So I'm Mr. DIY, I'm going to do it myself, and I'm going to bring you along with that, so stay tuned. Those are some of your big expenses that you want to plan on. Also, another big expense that you're going to plan on as far as starting a climbing gym is going to be the holds. You do not overlook the holds and the volumes. You want to have, if you have, let's say, a climbing wall that has 1,000 square feet, I would say you probably want to purchase 500 holds for that wall and plan on $10 to $15 per hold. That's what it's going to average out as. You're going to have some small foot jibs that are going to be over or less than that, and then you're going to have some Mondo holds that are going to be way over that. The most expensive hold that we have here in the gym, and we try to be very, very cautious about how we purchased holds, but the most expensive hold that we have in the gym is $300. And it actually costs more than that. We bought it as a second. So those are some numbers to help you get started. I have a spreadsheet. Maybe I'll try to break that down and take out the personal information that we had and share that with you, and so you can see what the specific things are that I looked at as far as cost goes. I'll share that. If I can get that done, it will be up on climberdad.com. Right now I have my website linking to my blog site, which I really don't put a whole lot of effort into. There's a lot of things that I'm doing, but I'll try to throw that out there. I'm trying to make it better. Let's go to the next question here, still from James Taylor. Again, with the business loan and investors. So I've already answered the business loan. We did get a small business loan, but we also did do some investing. The best way to get funding is actually ask your family and friends first. We did have some family and friends that had faith in us and gave us some funds to start, and I really, really want to pay them back. I want to pay them back more than the big SBA loan that we pulled out, but they're forcing, there's more, it's complicated. But my heart says pay those family and friends back first, and eventually I will. Even if it's after this place is closed down, I'm working on my own, I'm still going to pay that back because I appreciate them having faith in me. And if you take money from family and friends, you should appreciate that as well and really plan on paying them back. Don't say the chump money. There's business people out there that say friends and family, that's chump money because they're chumps for giving you money. I don't believe in that philosophy. Try to pay everybody back. Did you do a feasibility study and assess the potential demand before going forward in your business. Yes, that's part of the business plan. Totally have to do that. If you're planning on getting investors besides family and friends and credit cards, then you need to do that. So I hope that answers your questions, James. It's been a dream of mine, not just to own a climbing gym, but to give back to the climbing community. And I feel super blessed that I'm able to do that through Clarksville Climbing and through this YouTube channel. Thank you for supporting me. First Grun said, I've been having a great deal issue finding the answer to the following situation. And I'm going to paraphrase here. I'm not going to read the whole thing. He is wanting to design a climbing wall in his basement that has exposed 2x10 rafters or floor joists. And is thinking about running 2x4s perpendicular to those floor joists and then screwing to those floor joists. The reason why you're having a hard time finding somebody to give you an answer is because nobody wants to take the responsibility for you screwing it up. And I'm going to kind of say the same thing, except I'm going to give you my opinion and let you know that this is only my opinion. You need to be responsible for yourself. I am not a structural engineer. I've already said that. I am not a structural engineer. I am not a structural engineer. This is only my opinion. If you look at the way that people do construction, they are pounding tons of nails into the top of those floor joists to hold the subflooring down. Now the subflooring is actually giving a little bit more strength to that when it's nailed down properly. Putting climbing wall panels up on the bottom side of that, I don't know why putting in a number 8 2-inch screw every, let's say 8 inches along the floor joist would really weaken it, because you're also, yes, you're putting in these small holes into the floor joists, but they're really tiny holes. It's not like you're drilling away material, you're just adding material. I don't think that it would really weaken the floor joist to the point where you need to add 2x4s. Me personally, I would just attach the panels directly to the floor joists. Consult a structural engineer if you want to be safe about this. It's totally my opinion. I'm not sure exactly what's going to happen. I just kind of been there, sort of done that. I've never attached directly to a floor joist panels themselves because I don't want to climb a lot on that horizontal surface. What I would more want to do is change that surface so it's not just a straight horizontal surface. So I would be building a frame on that's attaching to that, and I've done that before successfully. Sierra Ackler asked the question, do the kids ever hang on to dad's legs as he walks? LOL, you should do a video on that. Yes, they hang on me all the time. In fact, I've thought about changing my name from Climber Dad to Climbed On Dad. Yeah, that happens a lot. And you know what? I absolutely love my kids, and I'm glad that they are able to do that. Request granted. So, last question that I'm going to answer for this is from Trap Town, TWC, creating music on YouTube. Nice, keep it up. Would you like to be YouTube friends? I have a question for you. Traptown, did you even watch my video? Do you really know? That's nice. Or are you just trying to push your channel? That's a good way to push your channel, and this is a YouTube specific question. As you are building your YouTube channel, I've found that it is very helpful if you go and be a part of the community. If you comment on other people's videos, but don't make it like, hey man, sub for sub, or cool, check out my channel too. Be productive with those comments. And if you want to say something about this video so people know about you, that'd be cool too. Just go down and say that. If you give me a question like, hey buddy, sub for sub, I don't give subs like that. And I hope that you don't either. Build your channel off of content and value. So I hope that you guys have enjoyed this video. I really have enjoyed talking to you, and I know it's not my typical video. I needed to take a break from all of the madness that was going on around me. I'm gonna have kind of a different video coming out as well that should be out fairly soon, and then I'll jump back into this stuff behind me, what you guys love. There's so many ideas that I want to talk about and share with you. So I will see you next time right here on Climber Dad. Hit that like button if it's helped you. Hit that subscribe button if you found this useful and you want to be a part of the Climber Dad community. I'd really appreciate it. Peace out.